Yeah, because again, it's like, what is that stuff really? You know
Not
what I
food.
mean? Because if they're saying they sold 1 million burgers a day,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? It's
Which
like,
is
yo, where the fuck you getting this millions of beef from?
billions.
Yeah,
Billion.
billions. But I'm saying a day. So like you say you sold a million. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot. I mean, I don't care if it started at a quarter pound or whatever the fuck it is. Like, really, where is it really coming from? Have you ever
And
even thought about that, Christy? Like, where does this meat come from?
I just, yeah, I always think that it's not real meat. I mean, I'm sure there's the real meat. There's the people who buy the cow and all that, I
Hmm.
believe. But and then also not for nothing, but especially in Florida, you'll see like all the farmlands are turning into houses. So like there's, I mean, I'm sure out west or whatever, there's millions of cows, but
There's
No, I've
not.
yeah,
moved. I've moved them. There's not millions upon millions of cows.
yeah. Well,
Even
you're
for them
eating
to
that
come,
pink stuff.
even to come
Or
to
you're
maturity. You know what I mean? Like some of this stuff is like bloated up, painted up, whatever the fuck it is.
Well, also don't forget we do import. We do
thank you. That was that
we
other part.
import a lot from Australia and Canada.
Them places ain't that big. Well, Canada's big, but mostly ice. They're not big enough neither.
She said mostly ice.
Australia
Like, are you talking
Australia
like the
is bigger.
agents, or are you
You,
talking
you,
like the physical ice?
Canada is half covered in ice. Like
but you can
it's
Not
half
fit
true.
cold.
the United States inside of Australia a couple of times.
Hmm.
What's inside the United States is Canada? What?
I say you can fit the United States inside of Australia a couple of times.
Right, but I'm saying like first of all, the big ass spiders and all that stuff. You don't think they eating too? I
Oh
don't. I
yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
Where,
I just
where,
don't
where do
think
we?
where we. All right, we know that they're making meat in the lab now. Now
Yeah.
you know you can grow meat in a lab way quicker than you could farm something and wait for maturity of an animal,
Yeah. Exactly that.
right?
Hmm.
So again, my question: I can see it with chickens. You have enough you can have enough room for chickens. I seen like breeding and everything with that, but with cows it's a little bit different. Like even if one thing goes wrong, one cow and sickens, it can fuck up the whole thing of cows where they got to put them all down.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's a real tricky thing, and those things happen all the time. So I'm just saying, where the fuck is this beef coming from? And I don't believe it's coming from fucking Australia. Outback is not that good. Okay, it's
It's
not
not
coming
at
from
all good.
fucking Australia. You know what I mean? It's either lab grown or some mixed up shit that they're making. Because remember, it's ground beef. That shit could be anything.
Really
Yeah,
cool.
You know what I mean?
Even with
It
fish, they paint the salmon pink. It's
yeah.
not even pink, like
Um,
that salmon color.
Well,
It's not
are
real.
you
there's
talking about
different
like?
salmons too, though.
Yeah, that's true. Wild caught
Farm,
versus
farmed.
there's a
Yeah.
whole
So
thing behind
what
it.
what's the problem with farmed fish? Is it the antibiotics that they put in the water? Like what's the
It's the
problem with it?
parasites that they carry.
Mm,
Incest was never good, not even for fish. Okay.
damn,
I
that's a
know.
hell of a
Hmm.
statement.
I thought so.
wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. Incest with fish. So the fish are mutated because they're incest.
Well, I didn't say all that. It's really the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
parasites
yeah.
that
Let's
you
just
got.
run with it. All right,
She said the
so
parasites.
these
So
these
I'm down
motherfuckers
with
are
the parasites.
they're monsters. Okay, they're
Well,
we eating
whatever
monster fish
parasites,
sandwiches.
whatever parasites they may have, they have to treat them with antibiotics in order to.
Which makes us sick. We all be getting sick. And there's tons of parasites. You actually get more parasites from like sushi and things than anything else. And we
Damn,
love sushi here in the United
I,
States.
I
Even
I
my
love
kids love
sushi.
sushi.
I
mhm.
love sushi.
I'm not
You
into
just
the
have
whole.
you have to purge your body.
Yeah. And it's hard to kill their eggs. People don't really talk about parasites, but that's most of our illness. Parasites and sugar,
Mhm.
fake sugar.
Yep.
Fake
That's
sugar.
why.
Yeah,
Yep.
Because real
because our
sugar
body
never
doesn't
hurt.
know how to
I
process
remember
it.
when I was young, a treat was we would get sugar cane and you just cut it up and you suck on it. That was a thing.
Yeah.
Still a thing. A lot of places. My mom did.
Well, I mean, a lot of places, but it's not prevalent like it used to be. It's not like you go in the grocery store and see it. A lot of stuff that we used to have when we were coming up is not. It's not available
I was
anymore.
gonna say I've never seen that in my life. I'm 35 years old.
You
Oh,
see what I'm
wow.
saying?
Go to
That's
Miami.
what I'm saying. So
I'm
what's
okay
for
with sucking on sticks, but thank you.
pause for me? But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, like that stuff that's not high fructose, and all this other stuff that's staying with you
Mhm.
in a bad way.
Yep.
You know what I mean? When I cook for myself, I feel better. So I cook for myself a large majority of the time. When I cook for myself, I feel better. I know what's going in that pot,
Mhm.
and I
Mhm.
stay away from things that are pre done. So
What
not a lot of cans going on. Not
Mm.
not a lot of garlic paste. It's mostly freshly chopped things.
you feel that too when you go to other countries? Last year I spent so much abroad that I was like, after like I think I was in Honduras for like 8 days, and I felt so different. My bowel movements were so different. I felt
Yes.
lighter. I didn't feel hungry.
Mhm.
Like the food industry has done so much to make us addicted to food.
Stuff.
Like
Yes.
Exactly.
literally
They're
would go
putting crack
past.
in the food.
Yeah,
They putting
absolutely.
crack and fentanyl. They putting that shit in the food, y'all. You can call
Very.
it sugar, you can call it glucose or whatever the fuck, but
But it's
it's
all crack.
pretty much it's all fentanyl. It's
Right.
all crack. You know what I mean? Because that's what they put in it. I I drove by McDonald's the other day. I don't eat McDonald's no more. I haven't in quite a while, but I still found myself wanting to pull in there
Yep.
when I smelt it. So
Mhm.
Yep.
they're putting shit in that motherfucker that
Absolutely.
when you smell it, you're it's like crack. It's like like you're like Pookie in New Jack City. You know what I mean? You're a
Pavlovian.
fiend. You're a
You're
fiend when
getting a
you smell
Pavlovian
it.
response.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when you get away from it, and you become like a vegetarian or something. That it's off-putting to you when you smell that stuff, right, Christy?
Yeah, I can't. I know it sounds really stupid and dramatic, but if I walk past the
No.
deli and they're like in like a grocery store and they're cutting meat, it makes me want to like vomit.
Vomit.
The smell is nasty to me.
Yes, because you've been far removed from it now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Christy, do you
it's
drink
like if a
soda?
person goes around a smoker
No, I
and they're
won't do
not a
that.
smoker, and they'd be like,
The
"Yo,
last
huh?
sorry.
No, no, you go, please."
The last time I drank soda is my ex-fiance like 20 years ago. He poured it on the battery of a car to get the
Hey, then get the corrosion off. I can picture it
Yeah, I
now.
was like,
Get a bottle
"What?"
of Coke and work it out. They don't do that. Oh. Mm-mm,
Facts.
mm-mm, mm-mm.
Tell me you didn't feel like you tasted like when I went raw for like 90 days. And when I went to like have I was so excited to have my first soda, and it tasted like metal, like
Mhm.
like licking a battery or a
Uh-huh.
penny. It was gross.
So you
And
don't
it,
drink it anymore?
let me tell you, girl, we had a hurricane, and this is where you know things are messed up. There was no produce. Everything was rotten, and like everybody had taken all the water, so all that was left was soda.
Mm.
So when I was drinking, so I was like forcing myself to drink it to have
Oh no.
something, and it was gross. And I did it until my body became numb to it again.
Mm,
And after a week, like your body becomes adjusted to these things.
yeah, yeah.
Because it gets adjusted to the fentanyl. It gets
Yeah,
adjusted to
Here we
the
go with the
crack
fentanyl.
that's
yeah.
in that motherfucking soda, man.
Mm.
Soda crack. You make you a soda.
Mm.
No, I'm telling you that
Well, that,
McDonald's showed me that they putting that shit in even the smell, man. Like
Yeah.
I went by there and I
that,
was like, oh man, if I could just get a steak and cheese biscuit. And this
Yeah.
motherfucker in the afternoon, they don't even have the goddamn steak and cheese biscuit in the afternoon, but it fuck with your psyche.
It
Mm.
Okay,
do.
it fucks with you. You gotta be careful with that shit out there. That shit that they have and everything. If you read the back, they don't even have to. They don't put half the stuff they put in something on something. I just
Mm-hmm.
did a sauce. I put literally everything that I put in there. So there's no secret squirrel shit. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? But when you look on the back of some of that shit, it, there's shit that I don't even know how to pronounce it, and I'm pretty articulate, so that like that's fucking crazy.
You
You know what I
can't
mean? To
pronounce
have
it, you
some
shouldn't eat it. That's right.
exactly because first of all, I don't know what the fuck that is.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Natural flavors.
yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, what is
What
that?
the fuck is a natural flavor? Now think
Beaver
about how
butthole.
broad the spectrum of that statement is. That you said, yo, I got natural flavors. What the fuck? Natural death? Like you
Yeah.
can say anything's a natural fucking flavor. You know what
Natural
I'm saying?
flavor is the the stuff secreted by a gland in a beaver's butthole.
Oh, here we go.
I was rolling with you for a second. You hear me, Scott?
She's
I was
right.
rolling with
too.
you, and then when you landed in the end, I was like, "What the fuck?" You know what I'm saying? Like, what the
That's
fuck
what
is a
vanilla
beaver's
is, though.
butthole? I'm like, where
Mm.
the fuck do you get that from?
The taste
Hey,
of vanilla
it's
is a
the
beaver's
You mean
butthole.
vanillin,
But
VANILLIN,
they, all right.
as
Here's the
opposed to
thing
vanilla
about
beans?
here's the
Yeah,
thing about
Mm.
corporations.
exactly.
If they find out that something that can cause you cancer will taste like vanilla and cost a nano penny, they're gonna give you that.
Yeah,
That's a fact.
business, big America,
So
big
when
business.
when they figured out that they could uh, put high fructose corn syrup in soda versus natural sugar, because what had happened, there was a shortage on sugar because the sugar was going to a war effort. So they came up with, in the laboratory, fructose, glucose, dextrose, sucrose, all of them are different forms of sugar. And then next thing you know, they figured out how to synthesize that out of corn. Get your high fructose corn syrup. Costs probably about a tenth of what regular real raw sugar costs.
Hmm.
but it blows you up.
Yes, it,
I mean,
it, it causes it causes those anti-inflammatory diseases that a lot of people have. Like the rheumatoid arthritis, the MS, the cerebral palsy, all of that. That's those are like those. It's like those are like anti-inflammatory diseases that attack joints and all sorts of things, and a lot of that can be attributed to diet.
Yeah,
It's
like you
all what we
like
put us in us.
hmm.
yeah, like even Alzheimer's they found out was a form of diabetes.
Yep, sugar. All back to the sugar.
So too much of the processed and the weird stuff, and not enough stuff that's being actually made is a big problem.
Well,
You know
think
what I
of
mean?
this. How many people actually know how to make anything?
Not too many
Anything.
now.
Bread. Ask
Yeah,
somebody right now who knows how to make bread.
I do.
You don't count.
He's like, yeah.
Damn, Harold
Nope.
knows nothing now. Harold doesn't count.
That,
You know what I'm
we can name the
saying?
show that too.
Okay.
Nope.
Jesus, that's
Hey,
that's
Only a
crazy.
daughter can sing that.
You
yeah, I know
know.
how to make bread.
You don't count, Rambo. You're a
Oh
See?
wow,
survivalist. You don't count neither.
wow.
I'm talking about the regular degulars out here. Christy, can you make bread?
No, but I don't really eat it.
Oh,
You
well.
know what? She's gonna survive through all this shit. I'm gonna go to her house.
She's,
She
she's
was
like
like, she'll be
This grass.
all
I heard
set.
you can eat it. It's not going to
Yep,
be too bad.
exactly. She gonna live. Everybody else, I'm not sure for everybody. They don't know how
Man,
to. I
please.
mean, they can't even. I mean,
She's gonna
bread.
crack. If you
No
have some
bread.
cookies or something out, she's gonna eat it. Okay, she's gonna crack. I know her. She's gonna crack. Okay. Everybody has
Yeah. No,
something.
no, yeah. I'll eat junk food, but
Yeah,
I don't eat.
everybody has something.
Yeah, I don't eat bread. I don't know. It's just
She don't eat
I
Well,
don't.
bread, but she
American
eat the
bread's not
fuck
good
out
for
of
us anyway.
a
Yeah.
chocolate chip cookie. You know what I'm saying?
That's
or a
probably better for
pie.
you than the bread out here, to be honest. Because our
Well,
bread isn't
it's
real
I'll
bread.
be honest. I mean, most of the stuff we have over here, even our bread, is considered pastry overseas.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a fact. All right. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, recently, well, not too recently, Subway had lost a lawsuit over in United Kingdoms,
All the rubber.
because you get taxed differently for pastries. You get a higher taxation than you do for food that's they deem to be a necessity.
Mm.
So real bread with grains that are a certain fructose, a certain um um what is the word for that? High glycerin. It's the word for the sugar and content in the bread. So Subway
Glucose.
was found to have not only plastics in the bread, but also to have the sugar content of a pastry. So they lost the case and they had to pay taxes according to that. And then they wanted to kick them out because they had plastic in the bread also
Mm.
It's the glucose content
Plastic.
because
in the bread.
glucose is the equivalent of real sugar. That's what real sugar is, glucose,
Mhm.
and that's what your
So
brain has to operate off of.
so that's what Britain does. They tax more. And New York had brought that on, and a couple other states up north brought that on, where they're taxing more for the soda or something like that. That
Yeah.
causes
Hmm.
more, stuff to go into society. So that's why overseas you don't see a lot of fat people. You know what I
Dang,
mean?
fat shaming.
Because, and well, I'm not. I'm just saying you just don't because they ain't giving you enough to get there. You know what I mean? The concept of eating 3 times a day is a concept that they push to us. Kellogg's and
Yep.
all these big companies push that to us. We're not supposed to eat that many fucking times. When is your body taking a break?
Another
Mhm.
thing is, I just saw a post. Like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, there's like a group, like the history of Sarasota or whatever, and they showed 1960 Sarasota Beach, and then today. And but think about it. Back then, there was no really major weight issues like we have now. So it definitely changed.
It changed a lot. We had to be able to do 3 miles when I was coming up.
Yep.
And at first in grade school, you had to be able to do a mile, which is around the school,
Mhm.
Yep.
like 10 times, depending. You know what I mean on the school. Um, so they don't demand none of that shit from a kid now. They just want them to be quiet and hopefully not kirk out in the class
Boy.
because they got
Literally.
to go home to bad parenting. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. It,
Mhm.
Sad
it
but
it's
true.
crazy as hell. You know what I mean? So stuff has really shifted. In education of what you would get somewhat out of school than what you get now.
Absolutely. That's why everybody's choosing to homeschool their children, especially in Florida, because the educational system sucks. And I hope somebody hears that out there
That's
in the
why I
Florida
didn't move.
boards.
That's why I didn't move my daughter down here. I let her
Mhm.
go off to college and then I came down because I already knew like Connecticut had way better schools.
Mhm.
Dude, I dropped out in ninth grade, went back, got my GD, went to college and everything. And when I see the education down here, I was like, oh, wow, they raising idiots out here. Like, straight up, um, no type of caliber. The teachers are, I mean, when I went to school, your teachers, even the ones that were like assholes to you, you know what I mean? You know that one teacher you were like, yo, she don't like
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
cared about you, bro. Even the one that was like, she didn't like you too hot.
Mhm.
Out here, like literally, this is a job.
Yes,
It's the
yes, they
clock
do.
in and
I know a
clock
couple of
out and get
teachers
my summer
and
break.
assistants, and it is definitely a job.
Yep.
It is definitely a
It's
job.
not a passion. I noticed up
It's not a
north,
passion. It's not a
my
passion.
teachers, I appreciated every one of them, even the ones that were like not so nice to me. I went back and was like, yo, thank you for pushing me. Cause you did it out of love. I saw it later on in life. Here, I'm like, these teachers really don't like these kids. These teachers really is
Mhm.
like, I'm here for a check and get out my face. There's very few that I can say, which in every field there is. There's a few that you're like, yo, you really was in this because you love children and you want to help them grow. But even then, my best friend is a teacher. And when she got into it, I was like, dude, I don't know if you're going to like this because the rules are crazy. You think you're going in there to be a teacher and to help children and to teach them? No, you are to follow the syllabus that the government gives you
Yes, you're
for what
there to
your
make
kid
sure
is
they
to learn.
pass a test.
Period.
So they can
That's
pass a
it.
test, but they can't pass in life.
Yeah, but you're
Exactly.
not even. But then all the books that they take away down here and the topics that they're not allowed to talk about, that is crazy.
Dude, I
What
had to
topics?
sign
What
up.
topics? What topics are they not allowed to talk about down here?
Just what does he call it? Your boy, DeSantis.
DeSantis.
He
That's
calls it.
He
What does he
makes up
call
things.
it? It's like racial.
Oh.
He doesn't want to talk about like slavery or anything.
Yeah,
And then Holocaust. That's another one. They're not allowed to talk about.
that's the
I mean,
craziest thing.
I'll be honest with you. I don't want to talk about slavery.
But he's making believe like it never happened.
Yeah, that's a difference. What she's saying.
Yeah, I mean, I get that too, but isn't life whatever the hell you say it is? Like if you if
Sure.
Harold, you need to know your
no.
history.
All right, hear me out. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. All right. So it's neither here nor there. But think about it like this. It's kind of like John Lennon's song "Imagine All the People."
Oh
So
my god.
no, I know it's a little deep. No. Think about this. What if your world was your perfect world was what you seen it to be, not what it was. So imagine that you see something as clear as day, as good as it can be, and that's what you see. The only way you can see that is if you don't see all those things from the past. A lot of those, what they say is past lessons, or just past, you know, it's just a bunch of bullshit. What's done is done. No. Listen, I'm just saying the truth. What's done is done. A lot of people are paying the price for shit they have nothing to do with. A lot of people are up in arms for shit they had nothing to do with. To be quite honest, even I'm talking about the people that I'm vehemently opposed to. I know some of those people, and they're for shit they have nothing to do with. They have no power. They're just as broke. They're just in the same fucking, fake it to make it or whatever the fuck is going on in their life. You know what I mean? But they're taught that if we fixate on this thing or these things, that our life is going to be better. Your life is going to be better when you realize what you have and you let go of the bullshit that ever happened. Because quite honestly, no one's getting beaten their ass right now. Most things that we do to ourselves. Accountability is at an all-time low in America, and pointing the fingers at an all-time fucking high. Just saying.
I'm saying relevance because I feel like people need to. I'm not saying that we need to stay stuck on something, but like when I was in school, 5th grade, I think they asked me if I wanted to see the movie Roots. Everybody watch that?
Yes.
5th grade. That's a really crazy movie to have a 5th grader watch. And they said and this is even more crazy. They said all the black children or mixed children that don't want to watch this can leave the room.
Yeah.
Isn't that
All right.
crazy? Isn't that
Yeah,
crazy?
but here's the thing. I can see the good and the bad in it. But here's my problem.
I don't think none of us should have watched it.
If I learn from a young age, this is what I am, and if somebody of a different culture learns from a young age, this is what they were.
Mhm.
That's what they can inspire to be. When you watch movies, you inspire to be something of that movie.
Mhm.
When you watch things, when you look at things, when you partake in these things, you're inspiring to be some part of that thing. So to show somebody that young and saying that's important for them to watch, it's not important for me to watch your domination. It's not important for me to celebrate being emancipated from you. All that matters not. All I can see is right now my opportunity that I have right now, which is I can be whatever the fuck I want to be. I can do whatever I want to do if I let go of a whole bunch of shit.
So then we shouldn't learn any history then.
Make your own. Become a history.
Or do you
Make your
have you
own.
learned
Become
from
a history. History was never meant for us to repeat it and celebrate it and keep dancing with it. You know what I mean? History was made to be a flashcard, something that you see, you get your point from it, and you move the fuck on. It's not something to make a statue of.
No, but history is so we don't repeat ourselves.
We don't repeat ourselves by not keep watching the same mistake. Look, you can watch Romeo and Juliet. You can watch any West Side Story. You can watch any movie after that. It's the same fucking story. We don't need to see it 1,000 times in different versions to know the fucking lesson. Is all I'm saying.
I'm
Now,
just
you
saying,
can
if you
do
don't know the lesson, if you never reviewed what happened, how do you make sure it doesn't happen again?
All right.
Because
Right.
otherwise,
What-
history repeats itself, right?
No. Actually, history repeats itself because we repeat history.
That's an interesting analysis.
Yeah, it's a book of Harold. But listen,
By the book.
no, but listen, that's a little later. Come on, I got a lot of shit on my table. But real talk, history repeats itself because we repeat history. How about, and again, it's a daring thing because no one ever tried it. How about not doing it?
Yeah.
Not playing the game.
Yeah.
Just not playing the game. None of it exists. Everybody's on face value. You know what? When that happens when we're very young kids. When we're 5, 6 years old, you know what I mean. Before it gets really too deep, it's just face fucking value. I like you, don't like you. We play, we don't play.
I do
You know what I
like
mean?
that. Kids
Like,
is the
yeah,
best.
yeah, no, real talk. And I remember being that, like it's still in my head, like it was yesterday, which makes me probably retarded. But what I'm saying is, no, real talk, because I can see from that angle. So my angle is like it can be pure if we just said it's so. Sometimes in my life, that thinking got me through a lot of hard ass shit that normally you were supposed to think logically, like, no, it's fucked. I'm thinking, hey, there's an angle here.
Mm.
You know what I mean? There's something for me. So I'm not, if I was worried about a bunch of shit from the past, I wouldn't be able to talk to the certain people I was talking to. I wouldn't be able to move how I was moving in order to change my situation. So I had to ignore the past. I mean, I was pro-black with nothing but white girls. Like, come on. I was like, Shaka Zulu super nigga with, white one. So, like, come the fuck on. I was delusional at best. None of that shit made sense. When you grow up and you read enough, you're like, oh my God, this is the same story over and fucking over again. Oh, this is bullshit.
But if you didn't know
that's
that,
the daring
if you
part.
didn't know the bullshit, how would you know it's bullshit though?
Yeah, I just read a lot that's what I'm saying. So, but I didn't fixate on it. When I fixate on it, I was doing bullshit. When I let go of this shit, I got further. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that you can't read it at all or whatever, but I'm saying it's a daring premise. No one should be judged because they say, you know what, fuck it, I ain't acknowledging none of this bullshit. None of it makes sense. It's all garbage. You know what I mean? You could say the person who wrote it is garbage. You could say DeSantis is garbage. You know what I mean? Like, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
I do.
Yeah, but you can. That's the beauty of it. Like, real talk, you can. You can say, yo, he's leveraging this. You could be logical because I'm just seeing it as logical. I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying as logical. You know what I mean? Like, you can argue the premise of it because it's like, imagine all the people. You know what I mean? If there was a community that never knew about the bullshit we did and they grew up by themselves with no history of nothing, and they're just moving about in that way, that's utopia.
Yeah, are you saying that history causes friction?
Well,
Yes.
it's a true psychological
Yes.
argument, of the times. It's a story that's always going to come back. It's always going to revolve
My other thing is
based on the
though,
generation.
with history, right? So like, let's say the Indians, right? We done took their land and moved them where we wanted them to.
Native Americans.
Okay, let me be specific. Native Americans. Okay. So is it right for us not to learn that we did that to them? So we don't know why they have land, or we don't make that same mistake of doing that to another culture?
Same mistake. The people that did it didn't do it by mistake. That's the first thing. They didn't do it by mistake. Control is made by the smaller people worrying about history, the bigger people not giving a fuck.
Well, that's true too.
That's the facts.
So let's just press reset. We're gonna take down Congress. We're gonna make our own stuff. We're gonna make a new constitution. And you got it all here on Harold Knows.
Whoever you learn from is who you become. There's not an African person of descent in this. Most people in this country that are black are not fucking nowhere near African.
Oh,
That's a
that's for
fact.
true. You can ask an African.
That's a fact. You know what I mean? We're just human beings. We're a product of whatever we were raised at. So if you've been here for 200 fucking years, you're whatever's on this soil. You know what I mean? Like this is where you bled at. This is where you're born at. This is where you're at. Period. You know what I mean? Like this is what it is. The 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 dream of America that I was taught was freedom, justice, and equality while watching what you say because it will fuck you up. That's what I learned. So I learned the 50s, the 60s, you know what I mean? The 40s where the big parties were there, but you know, if we were there, we were white glove serving people. Like I seen all those things, but I've traveled the country enough to know that most of this shit is bullshit. Most people are sharecroppers of their land of something of some sort. Everybody's under pressure and underfoot. Some people have it worse than others, depending on the time and period of his story and whoever's telling the story. So all that being
Yeah.
said, what really fucking matters is are you humane or not? You know what I mean? Are you looking for an excuse to be the worst part of yourself to justify doing something for people of ancestry who are no longer even a part of that equation? Because even in number, they have the worst numbers in crime. They have the worst numbers in housing. They have all this shit. I've been out to Missouri, and all these places in between Pennsylvania, and you know what I mean. Like I've been to places where most people, when we have an opinion on someone, it's based off a movie. So that's a narrative that someone's feeding you. That's not you really being there talking to these people. You know what I mean? We've been taught to hate or know or like somebody based on a story told, and we don't even know the writers. You know what I mean? Like we're just taught to
That's
just
true
hate,
too,
hate,
though.
hate, 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 and it's
You
like,
don't even
don't,
know other
who's gonna
countries.
stop and take a second to say, is this all the same? Is it all the same? And if it's all the same, who's gonna break the chain? Like, are you gonna keep using the excuse and say, I didn't have a dad, so I'm not gonna be a dad, or I didn't have this, so I'm not gonna do it? Or are you gonna use that history, that pain, to govern everything that you do ahead when you can say, you know what, cut the crap, just do what you're supposed to do. That's it. In order to do that, you have to let go of everything in the back. So we can't do it as a nation or as people, as human beings, if we don't let go of everything. And it's a scary thing because you're like, what if we repeat it? Well, what the fuck? We won't know unless we stop it. We won't know unless we stop it. You know what I mean? Like everything we do is based on security. Security is what you know, the fears of the unknown. So you don't know. So that makes you the most fearful of doing something like that. So yeah, I get it. Learn your history so you don't repeat it. But from my experience, everybody's doing nothing but constantly repeat history. It has not changed. The outfits have changed, but the outcome has not. I will repeat. The outfits have changed, but the outcome has not. So we wear
Harold.
different clothes. We have different technology, but the story is still the same. The UFC is the Coliseum. The Senate is still the Senate. Rome is still Rome because we participate in such, because we invest in someone else's story that they tell of us instead of creating our own and saying fuck everything else. That's a powerful thing to be able to tell everybody, fuck it. I'll write my own story. This is what it is. Oh, it didn't have a way. So what? This is my story. But everybody's good in my story. Everybody's happy. Everybody's peaceful. So how about that? So people aren't daring like that. They rather tell the same fucking stories over and over again and sell it to us. The movies are the same. We tell the same story over and over again.
I'll
You know what
tell
I
you,
mean?
you're 1,000% right though about the propaganda of movies and what we think other countries are like. Like you go to Africa, you think everybody's barefoot and poor. That's not the truth. They got skyscrapers like we got here. My mother told me not to go to Honduras, that it's bad over there and people are gonna rob you over there.
I've
Man,
been there.
I left my whole wallet on top of a ATV and went and ate in a restaurant and then came back and my whole thing was there. They don't
That's
even
what.
take their
But
keys out of the ignitions of golf carts and
but
stuff.
but
Nobody's
this is
stealing
what.
your
But
stuff.
this is what I'm saying. If somebody tells you a history,
Yep.
whether it's true or not, that's influencing how you see things. But if
Hmm.
you go there, it's a totally different experience.
Yep.
It's a total different conversation. I've had so many conversations with people that don't look like me, and were dead. They asked me, one person in Colorado asked me, "How did I feel about the Confederate flag?" I said, "In a public place, if it displays pain to somebody, I don't think it's appropriate. However, I like the Dukes of Hazzard, and I love the General Lee." So in
Hmm.
entertainment, so whatever's in your house that entertains you, that's you, bro. Whatever's for the public is for the public, but no one has the right to tell you not to have it. You know what I mean? As long as you, and he fed me. So I don't give a fuck that he likes a Confederate flag or not. He fed me good food. He didn't try to kill me. Him and his wife was cool. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you just don't know who you're talking. These are all regular people. You don't know where everything's coming from. You're having someone tell you where it's coming from and showing you the bad parts of it, but they're not showing you their struggle or them worried about their kid being on meth or some other shit or fentanyl. You know what I mean? The same struggles that we go through in our community, they're going through. You know what I mean? But we're taught that we're just different. It's like, no, we're really not. There's no difference going on out here. It's just what you like and what you don't like. You know what I mean? So you might like English, you might like Spanish, you might like French. You know what I mean? I- It's what you like, but it has nothing to do with history. Because as like a kid's eyes, you're just gonna go to what you like, what you gravitate to. History teaches you how to hate. That's all it does. It teaches you how to hate and who to hate. That's a fact.
I
It's
think
fucked
it.
up to say, but I think it does. I think it teaches you how to hate and who to hate.
I
And
think that
everyone,
also depends on perspective too.
I think it's perspective. But if it's teaching me that I'm better than somebody just because I bear a certain melanin, I think that's bullshit. I think that's a control
It's
mechanism.
not teaching you that though. It's teaching the opposite. It's teaching you that's what happened. But we're not to obviously
Are
be
you what
that way.
happened to you, or what are you what you made yourself?
Both.
Because often what you are is what you chose to be.
I think that's built off of your past, which is history.
I mean,
But
it's what
I
you're
gotta
built to
go to
be.
bed. So love
Yeah,
y'all.
and it's time for us to get out of here too. It's 11 o'clock. I gotta get out of here too. Um, see you guys later. We had Jaleesa here, Christy G. That's crazy. We gotta get the avatar. Black Rambo
Mm.
and Regina, and
Oh,
of course
please.
me, Harold, who knows absolutely
Peace
nothing.
out.
Nada.
Peace.
All right.
Bye.